All right, thank you for joining me this afternoon. We are live with the tornado warning for the Santa Rosa Beach, the Miramar Beach, and Freeport here in the Florida Panhandle. This is, again, a tornado warning. This is not a confirmed tornado on the ground, but there could be one on the ground at any second here, so you need to take cover if you are included in this warning. Right now, your rotation is right there just to the south of Grosh. This is going to be heading up to the north and the east, eventually going to cross over the Chattahoochee Bay there and make it up towards areas like Fluffy Landing and Freeport in Florida, so you're going to have to look out for that. In addition to that, we also have this severe thunderstorm warning, which does include a very large area, all the way from areas like Ozark, Alabama, back down to Panama City, Florida. So if you are in this, you're going to be under the gun for wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, and maybe another area of rotation developing with another tornado threat. In fact, this little area in here, I am kind of watching to the southeast of Rock Hill for a possible area of rotation trying to develop. Things are not as intense as they were this morning, right? This morning we had damaging, destructive wind gusts. We had, a much higher tornado potential. We still could see an isolated tornado or two this evening, but it's much less likely than it was earlier today. They have dropped the moderate risk of severe weather. We are down to an enhanced risk. We still have that 10% hatch for tornadoes, so still, we do have that small potential for a strong tornado to spin up here across this tornado watch, which does include portions of the Florida Panhandle, southwest Georgia, and southeastern Alabama. We did actually get a pretty significant EF2 tornado to go through the Lake Charles area early this morning, even before my stream. This went through the south side of Lake Charles, and it has a preliminary rating of EF2, so we're still surveying damage out there, but it's looking pretty bad. We've gotten a lot of big damage reports. It's kind of seeming like that's going to be the big tornado of the severe weather outbreak here. This is not a tornado outbreak yet, but it is definitely a severe weather outbreak. Look at all those severe gusts we've seen today. That is ridiculous. We do have storm chaser Brad Arnold out there in southern Alabama right now. We've also got a cyclone port out here, but unfortunately it does not have a live cam associated with it. We also have storm chasers Corey Gherkin and Brandon Kopic out there, and I bet if we zoom in, we'll see Vince Welty in here somewhere as well. Yeah, there he is. They're up there near Creola, kind of towards the Mobile area. But yeah, right now we are looking at this possible tornado trying to drop again. This is going to be crossing over the Chattahoochee Bay area very shortly. Please let me know if I'm pronouncing that wrong. This is a very populated area. We do have quite a few people that are actually included in this warning box. Let's go and actually see how many there are. And yeah, it's looking like we've got about 35,000 people, 36,000 people under a tornado warning right now. So if you're on this warning, you need to be taking cover now, because again, this is very dangerous. It's not that crazy rotation-wise, but it would not surprise me if it did intensify and drop something soon. So, kind of as a precautionary thing, you do need to be taking cover. Right now, that is close to the south side of Grosh once again there. So yeah, hopefully the sirens are going off in this area. And again, on top of that, we have this massive severe thunderstorm warning that includes like 12 counties, 11 counties, in portions of Alabama and Florida. New velocity scan here, still showing that rotation there. And then the area that I was watching for that was a little bit further up to the north, not quite as concerning now, but we could still see something possibly spin up here. At the very least, it's a pocket of higher winds there. That's to the east of Rock Hill once again. Again, this is moving off to the north and the east here, kind of sweeping on to the coast. We probably do have a lot of people out here at the beach today. It's obviously very warm down here. Let's go and turn on the temperatures. And we do have the rain cool air kind of lowering some of the temperatures in this area, actually. But there's still some spots where we've got 70s, So there may be some people out there at the beach today. It's kind of spring break time. So, hopefully, they're getting the message that there is a massive storm on the way. We got 73 on the board for Tallahassee, 68 in Dothan, and then we've got 72 closer to the Panama City area. Now, the further off to the north you go here into southeast Alabama, Obviously, it's a little bit cooler, but I mean, it's still pretty nice with temps in the 60s. These pesky storms are the only things ruining this day for you guys. And the temps are a little bit on the lower side now because of that rain cool air that came in here. And they are starting to drop just because it is getting just a tad bit later in the day. But we had temps around 70 degrees or higher pretty much all along the Panhandle coast here. So there are probably quite a few people out there at the beach today with it being spring break time. And unfortunately, we do have a tornado warning there now. 4 parts of Santa Rosa Beach, Miramar Beach, Grayton Beach, heading up towards Freeport. Again, this supercell is actually tracking off to the northeast here. This is moving northeast at 15 miles per hour. So, areas like Ponce de Leon, Defuniak Springs, Caryville, Bonifay, Vernon, Chipley, Wausau. You're going to be in the path of this pretty soon. They're in the Florida Panhandle. We do have a storm that is not severe warning, but it does have a special weather statement attached to it just to the north of Shreveport. And it has the intensification tag, the intensification possible tag, and the cloud to ground lightning tag as well. So that's moving near Vivian on the northwest portion of Louisiana there. Capable of producing wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour in pea-sized hail. And then we're mainly just watching this one tornado warning storm here. This afternoon has not been as intense as it was expected to be. Part of that is going to be because this morning round of storms basically sucked all of the juice out of this area, the storm juice. Like this morning, way overperformed. We had a high-end EF2 tornado, which we were not expecting for this morning. But then, you know, to every action, there's a equal and opposite reaction. This evening underperformed, so... This afternoon underperformed, rather. But we still do have that very real potential of seeing a brief spin-up tornado or two somewhere across the Florida Panhandle or like southeast Alabama, southwest Georgia. The further inland this goes, the less likely that is to happen, though. Because, again, this whole kind of system here is kind of moving off to the east. Tomorrow, we are going to be live again, but, you know, today we're talking about Florida. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about Ohio. All right, it's a very big change. We do have a enhanced risk of severe weather tomorrow, driven by a 10% tornado risk. And that's not a 10% risk total for anybody that's not aware. That's not what that means. That means you have a 10% chance to see a tornado in your specific town. So, like, there's a 10% chance of a tornado in Huntington, a 10% chance in Parkersburg, a 10% chance in Wheeling, a 10% chance in Canton, a 10% chance in Akron, 10% chance in Youngstown. So, that's what that means. We do not have a hatch risk for tomorrow, so strong tornadoes are not really in the picture, but some brief spin-ups are. This southern mode of storms could also produce a tornado or two tomorrow. We have a 5% risk for the southeast tomorrow. And then pretty much all the way from central Florida back into Canada, we have a 2% risk of a tornado still. So that's an elevated tornado risk for a lot of people. All right, that does not mean it's a high-end tornado risk by any means. It's definitely not, but it's there. The thing is, we kind of have a storm system in the Midwest and then also a storm system in the Southeast. And this one's going to head off to the north and the east a decent bit. This one's going to head off to the straight east. And eventually they are going to kind of merge here and create a severe weather threat for a good chunk of the eastern United States. Pretty much the entirety of the eastern United States is going to be under some sort of severe threat for tomorrow. Maybe it's just a marginal risk, but I mean, we're going to be talking about a lot of different areas tomorrow that have the potential for severe weather. Luckily, we do have some cyclone ports in this area, some live cams, so that's good. Obviously, we got Ryan Hull's cam there, but we have also got this, actually, yeah, this one in Warren County, Ohio. That's already pretty ominous from some showers that are moving through. We got a couple here in Charlotte, North Carolina, all the way down through northeast Georgia, and then we've even got some down here in east central Georgia that we can watch for the southern mode of storms. So, yeah. Anyway, back to our tornado warned storm here. Again, I do want to emphasize, if you are in this tornado warning, you need to be taking cover in a sturdy room or building, preferably underground. If you can't get underground, that's fine. You need to get away from windows in an interior room. Again, we do prefer for you to be underground if possible, but it's not a possibility for some people. Unfortunately, this is kind of the afternoon commute where you got people coming home from work. It's about 5:30 there. In Eastern time right now, and obviously that means all the schools have let out, so there's no kids riding home on buses or anything. But 5:30, you know, we definitely have the evening commute kind of coming in here for a lot of people. And again, it's also beach weather, so if anybody got off work, they head to the beach. Unfortunately, this is here, so yeah. We do actually have some high wind warnings for parts of the Smoky Mountains here. Gusts up to 75 miles per hour expected. It doesn't even say possible, it says expected. So what that's going to do is damaging winds will blow down trees and power lines. Widespread power outages are expected. Travel will be difficult, especially for high-profile vehicles. So if you're driving like a semi-truck, don't. That's all I have to say about that. Try to avoid the Smoky Mountains today and tomorrow. I mean, I don't know why you'd be driving through the mountains in a semi-truck anyway, but, you know, some people have to do it. So, there you go. Unfortunately, we don't have any cyclone ports in this specific area here to watch these storms. Or to watch this cluster of storms, rather, in particular. Alright. We do have a... Oh, this is from a while ago, actually. Never mind. I was going to say we had a 50 mile per hour gust. There are 54 mile per hour gusts, but that's from the last round of storms. That's off to the north of the Panama City area. Panama City Beach area. Alright, so the rotation is not nearly as impressive anymore with this. It was around here that it was the most concerning. Around the 4 Mile Village area. And then it kind of got a little messier and less organized. And now we're dealing with not too much of a tornado threat. I thought they removed the warning there for a second. I was going to be like, in fact, there you go, it's gone. But no, it is still there. You should still be taking cover, especially in Freeport. That's heading for you. Hopefully the sirens are going off once again to alert the community of this, the public, rather. We did have serious, deadly flash flooding this morning in Kirbyville, Texas. Over 15 inches of rain fell in some spots, and that led to several homes and businesses getting flooded. Cars were getting swept away. I don't know if we have any reported deaths from that, but if I do a documentary on this outbreak, which is not looking likely at this point, by the way, I'm definitely going to mention the flooding. But again, I don't think I'm going to do one for this. We haven't had that many significant tornadoes other than the one that went near Lake Charles, Louisiana. Don't get me wrong, we had a couple, but nothing that impressive other than that one EF2. Usually I only do a documentary if there's, you know, multiple EF2s. Or preferably like an EF3. Because if you're not aware, I do documentaries for the major tornado outbreaks and severe weather outbreaks, but this isn't even going to be classified as a tornado outbreak unless we get a few more tornadoes. So, what's up, Mr. Storm? This rotation, there is a little bit of a pocket of higher wind starting to develop here again, so this could try to spin back up. It may have just been in a recycling stage there while it weakened for a while. So, again, this is going to be crossing over the Chattahoochee Bay area. And eventually heading up towards the Fluffy Landing, Bayview, Old Bayview, to the south of Freeport area. The south side of Freeport could take a direct impact from this. Again, this is not a confirmed tornado on the ground, but we could see this drop down, actually, soon, if it continues to uptrend here. Is uptrend a word? I think so. I don't know if that was the appropriate context to use that word in or not, but anyway. Again, if you're just now tuning in, we have a tornado warning for portions of the Florida Panhandle here, and a massive severe thunderstorm warning that goes all the way from the Dothan, Alabama area. They did shrink it. Eventually it went all the way up to Ozark. But southeast Alabama, Florida Panhandle, massive severe thunderstorm warning, because this is... They basically just did a one warning for this entire line of storms instead of issuing, 7 different warnings. 7 different tiny warnings here like this. That's what they usually do, but I think this actually makes more sense. It just looks kind of funny, but whatever. Again, we are watching this to the southeast of Santa Rosa Beach right now for a possible tornado development. We may even see a water spout here over the Chattahoochee Bay if this does produce over the lake there. So we'll watch that. We do actually have a day 6 enhanced risk of severe weather. For reference, if you don't know what that really means, we have not had one of those in like a year, and the last time we did have it, we had a significant severe weather outbreak. And this is going to be all the way back in like Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas. The slight risk, the yellow area there, that includes Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Nebraska. So it's going to be a major severe weather outbreak, most likely. That's on Monday there. So you got to look out in that area. But right now we are going to stay focused on this little guy here. Again, it's trying to rotate decently there. Again, it's trying, but it's not that impressive at the minute. But you do want to be taking cover here anyway. Again, hopefully those sirens are going off as a precautionary action. Again, this is going to head up towards Fluffy Landing, LaGrange Point, Old Bayview, to the south of Freeport in Florida. I could probably turn the temperature thing off now. We probably don't need that on anymore. These storms are not doing as much lightning as the ones for the past few days have been, which is good, because deadly cloud-to-ground lightning is actually one of nature's most, it's one of its highest killers just because of how often it happens, but it is just dangerous in general, so. We did have an 88-mile-per-hour gust report yesterday. We haven't seen anything quite to that magnitude today, but that pocket of 140-mile-per-hour winds, estimated by radar, half a degree elevated, did produce winds over 80 miles per hour at the surface. By the way, I'm just noticing this on the Storm Prediction Center website. 4 injuries resulted in the St. Landry Parish EM reports. 4 people were injured when a tree fell on a car. 1 injury is critical, and the victim is being airlifted to Baton Rouge. So that's very serious. So we need to keep that person in our prayers. Again, it seems like a tree fell down on a full car, like full of people. There have been 77 reports of wind damage today, or significant wind gusts just in general. That's going to be one of the biggest problems today, along with the flooding, I think. The hail hasn't been anything crazy, and we weren't expecting it to be. They only put a slight risk on hail at the beginning of the day, then downgraded it to a marginal risk of hail, and now we don't have any risk for large hail, so, yeah. Some small hail is still possible, but nothing major. But yeah, I didn't notice that. That just must have recently come up, like very recently. So, again, that's obviously kind of gut-wrenching to see that somebody did get hurt there. And that is actually from the pocket of high winds that we were covering this morning. So, it's just kind of sad because, watching that pocket of high winds on live, in my gut, I knew something bad was going to happen. It was just obvious. You don't get gusts of 100 miles per hour possibly at the surface without having something bad happen, and there you go. And they just kind of snuck up on everybody as well. We don't have any injury or death reports yet from the Lake Charles tornado as far as I can see. Slidell got hit with a small tornado. Is that the one that went through Texas? Because I know there was like an EF1 in Texas. That was also relatively significant, but nothing crazy. Yeah, Texas and Louisiana are where all of our tornado reports have come from so far. But yeah, was that the one in Texas? So again, if you are to the south of Freeport or even just in Freeport, you should be taking cover now, really anywhere in that warning box. The red polygon there. It's a possible tornado trying to spin up. Right now, if it does spin up, it will be over the Chattahoochee Bay. Again, hopefully the sirens aren't going off in Freeport. It's a pretty big city there. You got quite a few locations. You got areas like the Publix, the Freeport Regional Sports Complex, the Practice Disc Golf Course, the public library, the high school, the main buildings, a lot of parking garages, it seems, the Melvin Cemetery, and lots of other important locations here. So, just because not everything pops up on Radar Omega doesn't mean it's not there. Radar Omega only has partial look. To see everything that's actually in the town, we'd have to actually look at like a Google Street View thing. And even that might be a little bit outdated. Again, there's your rotation there, likely now over the bay, actually. The lake there. Again, I'm not seeing anything yet on the correlation coefficient that indicates a tornado on the ground, but it could spin up super easily in a situation like this. And if it does spin up, it will be rain wrapped, so don't go outside and try to look for it. There you go. Yeah, now your rotation is going to mostly be located here over the bay, so you're going to have a couple minutes of peace here. This is your chance now, if you are in Freeport or to the south, to take shelter. If you are south of the Chattahoochee Bay, you are good. Chattahoochee Bay. You are good. The main tornadic threat has passed you, but you're still going to be getting hit with some rain, so look out for that. Maybe a little bit of wind. Some lightning, possibly. This isn't a huge lightning producer, but there are some isolated lightning strikes with it, it seems. Again, if you're just now tuning in, we have a possible tornado trying to develop here near Bayview, Fluffy Landing, and Freeport in Florida. If you're included in this tornado warning, take cover immediately on the lowest floor possible in an interior room of a building. This tornado warning expires in 2 minutes, but the rotation does not look any less intense than whenever it was first issued, so I'm imagining they are going to reissue this here. So if you are in the to the northeast of Freeport, it's a pretty rural area. Just be prepared for a tornado warning to get issued. Know where you're going to go if one does get issued, for sure. Again, there's not too much out here, luckily. It's a pretty rural area. After it gets past Freeport, there's not going to be much for it to hit. It will go somewhere near the radar site. That would be a worst-case scenario. If this does drop and then hits the radar site, that would be a worst-case scenario. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't even think it's going to touch down at this point. It is a possibility, but we'll see here. Oh, that tornado warning expires in 1 minute, so I guess we're about to find out if they are going to reissue that or not. We've not gotten any new warnings since the stream started. We're still only left with one severe thunderstorm warning and one tornado warning for this same storm here in the Florida Panhandle. And it has expired. It has not been reissued yet. They may wait until it makes landfall here, because, again, right now it is kind of over the Chattahoochee Bay, the lake there. In addition to this severe thunderstorm warning, we also have a massive flash flood warning that, again, goes all the way from Dothan, Alabama, back down into the Florida Panhandle there, all the way towards the Santa Rosa Beach area. So, your beach day is over at this point if you are out there at the beach. For the most part. Again, it's been trying to do something here as it approaches Fluffy Landing, but it's not quite as impressive anymore, actually, with this newest radar scan. This might not get reissued here. But areas like Fluffy Landing and Freeport, you're still under a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag and a flash flood warning. So you need to remain on high alert, get indoors, for sure. And we don't have any other storms to watch right now. No other storms are severe warned even. We do have some other flash flood warnings, but those are from leftover storms. We do have this special weather statement. This is not the same one that we were saying earlier for that storm. That's the storm up near Vivian. This one is down to the southwest of Shreveport, and this is for 40-mile-per-hour winds and pea-sized hail as well. It's just now crossing the Texas-Louisiana border. Again, that's going to go just the south of Shreveport, Louisiana. We do actually have a flash flooding report here, but that was from way this morning. That was from 7:50 a.m., so not from this storm. But this area already got hit hard, so stay aware. There is another line of storms coming with some wind, maybe a little bit of hail, some lightning, maybe a pocket or two of heavy rain, but it's not going to be nearly as bad as the last round of storms that you got hit with this morning. All of the storm juice has been sucked out of that area, so we're likely not even going to see a severe storm out of this at all. Probably not even a single one. Again, maybe an isolated strong storm or two, but nothing crazy. Alright. And we do have our storm chasers out there right now. They are chasing after this storm. The storm chasers are chasing the storm. Surprise, surprise. The rotation is about to make landfall again. There you go. There's your newest velocity scan. What's left of it is going to be located right in there in pretty much the middle of the Chattahoochee Bay on the eastern side. But soon that is going to come up towards Fluffy Landing and Freeport, so be aware, guys. It's coming up pretty shortly here. We may actually see another pocket of rotation possibly develop here. Somewhere to the southeast of Freeport, but that's not warned for anything yet in terms of a tornadic threat. We do have the tornado possible tag on this severe thunderstorm warning, but that's just for this whole area once again, just in general. For any rotation that does develop, because it is possible down there. That severe thunderstorm warning is basically across the entire enhanced risk, except for the eastern part, near Bainbridge and Apalachicola, in Georgia and Florida, respectively. Again, this whole line of storms is kind of moving off to the east, a little bit to the northeast there in some spots. So this is going to head towards areas like Tallahassee, Florida, Albany, Georgia soon. It's going to be much weaker, though. We're likely not going to see too much in the way of anything severe, honestly, at all. But we could see an isolated severe storm or two by the time it reaches your area, so look out for that. Maybe a brief spin-up tornado possible, but not likely at this point for anywhere. Again, I know I'm kind of sending mixed signals with this area of rotation here, me talking about it, and then me also saying, oh, there's no tornado threat. That's because this is a weakening area of rotation. The only reason I'm still pointing it out is because it is there. I do want to make people aware that it's there, but it's nothing crazy that it has an immediate tornado threat with it, and I don't think it'll turn into anything like that, but just to be prepared, Just, prepare for the worst case scenario, as they say. Let's expect that to wrap up a ton after it gets over the lake and drops down somewhere here near Freeport. You're going to want to make sure that you have a way to receive alerts, and if you can't, that's what my job is here, kind of to alert you that this is coming. But if you're watching this video, more than likely you have a way to receive alerts, whether that be through your phone or your NOAA weather radio. Preferably you have one of those. I know not everybody does. I don't. And if you are getting alerts through your phone, make sure that you're not just getting like your standard wireless emergency alerts on your iPhone. Those are really great because it will beep really loud and it will scare you, but that's what you want. But that won't go off for every weather warning. That only go off for tornado warnings and destructive severe thunderstorm warnings and flash flood warnings. You're going to also want something for those severe thunderstorm warnings with the tornado possible tag, or even just a severe thunderstorm warning in general, just so that you can know to get indoors so that you don't get hurt. And one of the ways you can do that is by downloading Radar Omega. They are not a sponsor of this channel. I have no affiliation with them whatsoever, but that's what I'm using right now to provide this life-saving information for you guys. I know we had a viewer earlier in Louisiana that was getting hit by some high winds. The way I was able to help them out is by looking at the radar here. This professional radar tool where you can see storm damage, what the risk is for today, actual ongoing storms. You can see if it's rotating. You can see all the weather warnings and watches and advisories and stuff. You can customize it pretty much however you want. You can see the storm by looking at these live cams, storm chasers. If there is a big storm, they'll be out. Or, if there's just some rain coming by your house and you want to see what's going on, this app is phenomenal for this. This is the kind of tool they use in the big weather studios to forecast for thousands of people across TV, and you can have it on your iOS or Android device for $8.99, $7.99, and you can buy a subscription. That you'd have to buy a subscription to get on your computer, but even the subscription you need for that, it only costs about, let's see here, how much does it cost? Let me try to find out here. I don't know, but it does not cost a lot, alright, to get it on your computer if you do want it on there. You can even start your own weather channel if that's something you're interested in, as long as you have a decent knowledge of the radar. And just use this app. You can do live streams, provide life-saving information for people. That's what I'm doing here today. That's my job. And again, it's all thanks to Radar Omega. And if you're not interested in being a weather person anyway, I would still recommend you have this app. Anyway, I went on like a 20-minute side tangent there that took so many different directions. It was from why I'm talking about all this rotation, even though there's not much there, to you should have weather alerts on your phone, to download Radar Omega, but I feel like everything I said there is true. And accurate, hopefully. So, sorry, I went on a little side tangent there like 6 times, but back to the coverage. This is a weakening line of storms. I honestly think once this severe thunderstorm warning expires, we're not going to see any more severe warnings for the rest of the day. The reason I think that is because this is only warned for 60-mile-per-hour winds. That is the bare minimum you can have for a severe thunderstorm warning. There's not even a hail threat attached to it at all. So I think because these winds are starting to weaken out a little bit, they're probably not even going to reissue a severe thunderstorm warning once this one expires, because these storms are not quite as impressive anymore. I do think widespread flash flooding will be possible still throughout the evening time hours. We do have a moderate risk of flash flooding today, so if you're in this general area, you have about a 40% chance to see flash flooding in your town, so be wary of that. But we don't have like a severe threat. It's a flooding threat. That's not a severe threat for the rest of the evening here. So again, I really do think this is kind of a weakening line of storms as it moves onto shore here. Again, that is what we were expecting to happen. All the juice is sucked out of this area already from storms earlier today. Sorry I was not able to go live earlier today, except for early this morning. I never go live that early in the morning because I had to go to school like 10 minutes after that stream. I had to go wait for the bus, but whenever I saw there were 140 mile per hour winds a little bit off the surface, I had to go live, especially because it was in a metro area like Lake Charles, one of the biggest metros in Louisiana. I knew what I had to do, and I did it. But anyway, not nearly as intense as things were this morning, which again is not expected how this was to play. This is not how it was expected to play out. Things were expected to be less intense in the morning and more intense in the evening. The exact opposite happened. So there you go. Even though we do have some great forecasting tools out there, nothing can 100% accurately predict the weather. Every time, at least. Just not quite possible yet, and it's probably not going to be possible in our lifetimes if you're watching this stream whenever it comes out. Maybe somebody's watching this 300 years down the line, if YouTube's still a thing then, and they're like, well, I mean, we can forecast the storms 100% accurate. What's he talking about? Well, hello, user 300 years in the future. We weren't able to now. I probably just provided some historical data. Probably not, but that's what I'm going to say to make myself feel better. Alright, anyway, jokes aside, and this is a much weaker line of storms now than whenever we started the stream. There's not really a tornado threat anymore. No tornado warnings, only one severe thunderstorm warning. We will go ahead and take one last look at our storm approaching the Shreveport area here. And this is kind of a line of storms as well, but it's not going to be able to perform the same way that this one did back here, because all of the energy that made these storms so big has been sucked out of this atmosphere, and it's not there anymore. So while we may see some stronger storms, we're not going to see anything in the way of severe storms, most likely. So with that being said, I am going to end off the live stream here. I want to thank you all for tuning in. We will be back again tomorrow covering severe weather, not only in the Ohio Valley, but also down here in the southeast once again. So come back next time, and I'll be here. All right, I'll see you guys later.